Hi, my name is Israel Vasquitelli, and this is the Turntable, a roundtable discussion featuring entertainment and music business students, artists, and anyone with a vested interest in the music business. And today we have four amazing panelists. I want to introduce them. We have Mr. Giovanni Bertul, and he is the founder of Trap Cat, which is a concert promotions company. And we also have the amazing Amanda Lynn, a model, an actress, and also a rockabilly artist. And we have Maria Garay, R&B and soul artist, and the phenomenal Jenny Morrison, both an educator, a musician, and also a music entrepreneur. So today's theme is working with venues as artists and booking shows. So let's go ahead and get to the first question. So obviously, most artists dream of getting in front of as many people as possible, maybe in an arena, in a stadium, and making tons of money. So you have to start somewhere, and typically that somewhere is a free gig. So I love to kind of go around and learn your perspectives on what type of free gigs are worth doing and how you make those decisions. So who wants to start?
I can start. Well, I think free gigs are a necessity because you can practice all you want at home, but that live experience is something you can't get anywhere else. So looking out for places with open mics just to get your nerves out and get that experience it's crucial.
I agree with Gio. I think that on-stage time is worth 5 times more than any other practice time. Your adrenalized cortex helps you process those neural pathways in your brain so that you get better at performing live the more you do it.
Yeah, to add on to that, I think open mics and anywhere you can just get on stage and perform, like practicing being in front of a crowd and like your stage coordination is definitely a key to practice, and yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think part of what has made me the performer I am today is all of the, I have a bit of a theater background, so like all the times I did community theater and all that, like that builds up to getting the professional gig. You have to have the credentials, you have to have the confidence in order to be able to be, reasonably paid for what you're doing.
So let's talk about that for a moment. So obviously, you want opportunities. So you do the free gigs, and after a while, I would imagine there's a ceiling where you kind of have to start being selective about the type of gigs that you're playing. So we have open mics, we have Battle of the Bands, we have showcases, we have opportunities to open, although I think we all know there's also plenty of opportunities that are kind of built just to make money from the opening acts, right? So let's talk a little bit about maybe evaluating. How do you scrutinize which free shows to do? You've already done them, you kind of got your craft, locked in, you know what you're doing on stage, you have a solid set. So now how do we pick which ones to actually go for and which ones to kind of leave behind? What do you think?
Well, I think it's important to be selective about the performances that you do from the very beginning. Even when it comes down to doing those initial free shows or the shows at dive bars or crummy clubs, be selective. Each show that you do is representative of you as an artist and as your brand. So I think it's very important that you're very selective from the beginning and you're very careful not to oversaturate your market.
I agree. I think that you just have to have a clear goal in mind. So maybe your goal is to play a free gig, but get a lot of exposure because the headliner is a really big act. Or maybe you just want to make money to fund an album per se. So as long as you have a clear goal, there's no right or wrong answer really. Yeah, that's what I think.
I agree with both what they said. The exposure, one thing, and like the scene, the setting, with the type of crowd that you're surrounding yourself with, and is that the type of image that you want as an artist? So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of gauge if whatever you're going out for has a value to you. Not just play a free show to play a free show, but okay, if you're not getting paid monetarily, what is it that you're getting out of doing that particular thing? And it goes back to what's your goal, Is it worth doing a opening for free for a group that you're hoping might decide to take you on tour and pay you later? Things like that.
Indeed. So that's a great segue to, how do we, if it's not monetization, how do we get value out of these gigs? So if you guys don't mind maybe sharing some tips as to how you might make it worth your time and effort and your art to actually go out there, do a free show, but you're getting something in return. Other than the experience, you're getting something, even if it's not money. What else could it be?
Content, definitely. Filming your gigs is a great way. Just upload all that onto YouTube so people can see you, and you can get royalties or AdSense money from all those videos, and it piles up, and that can help fund future albums and EPs.
I think collecting content for your artist is fantastic, or for you as a musician, just an absolute asset. But in addition to that, live performance is where you distribute your vibe, it's where you distribute your music, and it's where you distribute your merch. So sometimes, as we were talking about weighing the value that you can get out of each particular show, one of those is that you can recoup any investment that you've made into doing this performance, hopefully get it back in merch.
Right, Eric, and making that connection with the people who are there at the event and getting that connection with the fans and having them, oh, I like your music, let me follow you on a social platform that you're on, and the merchandise and a few giveaways or whatever, and that really will make them remember that experience with you.
Yeah, I've had the term thrown out a lot, like fake it till you make it. It's that just the very act of showing people you're doing things shows you're serious about what you're doing, that you're committed to what you're doing and have dates on your calendar, that you're not just saying you're a singer-songwriter and not doing anything with it.
So in regard to getting some of that maybe interaction or the opportunity to interact with your potential new fans, other than, are you on stage asking people to follow you? What other things are you doing? Are you finding ways to collect emails? How is that happening?
I guess just shouting out what you're doing. I know some people who have YouTube channels do vlogs and stuff, and they give giveaways, and kind of like a way to reward your fans for keeping up with you and watching your stuff. It's a cool way to really engage with them.
So maybe a contest?
Yeah, a contest or something.
Cool. What else?
So Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur, famous entrepreneur, has a book that he names after one of his sayings, and it's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And what he means by that is with every jab is you give your fans something, whether it's a little piece of content that makes them laugh, whether it's a way that makes them feel connected to you as an artist, some backstage footage, whatever it is. And then once they feel they've received enough value from you as an artist, then you can give that right hook, which is the ask for the sale, whatever it is, whether it's they buy the ticket, they download the song, they purchase the album. As long as you can find a way to give that fan enough emotional connection, enough value, which is a show is one great place to distribute that value, is then you're able to ask for that sale.
It's funny you actually mentioned Gary, because he also has another theory, the 51-49.
Great.
Where every interaction that you have with anybody, you should give 51% and take 49. So always give more, and eventually karma will realign and give back to you, essentially.
Cool, I like that. So let's talk a little bit about transition. So you've kind of paid your dues in the sense that you have honed in on your craft. You've done plenty of shows. People know your name. You have a mailing list. You got people showing up at your shows. And how do we transition from playing free gigs, whether they be opening spots or something else, into actual paid performances? So what are the steps, and how do you make that happen?
Well, I think a good way is to show statistics. Tell people, or tell the booking agent that you're talking to, this is how many people I brought out to these last few shows. I have consistency. This is how many people I can bring. And you try to work out a deal based on ticket sales so you can get paid somewhat for your work.
Yeah, I believe in that, creating that demand of proving that you could bring out a crowd to come see your show, and I guess making sure that your music is solid, and giving out that good performance and everything. I think that's a good thing to do.
We've harped a lot about value here in this conversation, and I think that's really important. If you have something that you can give, whether it's plenty of people that will buy alcohol, right? Whatever it is that you can give, you have to be able to provide value to that venue, to that festival, to that talent buyer, in one way or another, in order for them to feel connected enough to say yes to you and always invite you back.
Absolutely. Or you can take a different approach and throw your own events, where you can book yourself and other artists that you want to work with and pay yourself.
No door is forever closed.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Love to learn a little bit about hurdles. So working with venues, and we could probably, those of us that have worked in various aspects of the business could probably write a book about hurdles and venues and promoters, but maybe we could keep it kind of lightweight and just dig into some of the more obvious things that you should be aware of that might come up when you're working with a venue or a promoter. or maybe even booking your own gig?
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of, you're gonna get left on red a lot, and you're gonna have to keep emailing, calling, maybe even go to the venue to try and get booked and talk to people face to face, because that's a very good way. Because it's very hard to turn down someone if you're looking at them. If an email, there's no person behind it; it's just a screen. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that the biggest hurdle for me, I'm kind of in all different aspects of the industry as an actor and musician, model, and the hardest part is just getting an answer at all. And no matter how many times you bug someone, sometimes they're just not going to answer. And for me, that's kind of the biggest struggle, is like, because you don't know why they're not responding. You don't know, did it go to their spam folder? So that to me that's a hurdle in a lot of ways. Just getting them to answer you one time back.
Indeed. Speaking of that, I mean, what kind of tools do you recommend? So obviously we have a plethora of platforms online that cater to independent musicians. We have places like Sonic Bids, where you could create an EPK, or Reverb Nation, Bands in Town. What are your thoughts, or maybe what are your suggestions for tools to use to help bridge that gap between, just playing and playing to get paid? What do you folks think?
Well, sorry.
Go ahead, Gio.
Well, I think that the number one thing you need to do first is to have a product, essentially a lot of songs. And once you have at least 15 songs that you can work with, then you can start thinking about creating an album, maybe releasing it through TuneCore, CD Baby, using those tools to get a nice distribution and get your music out there, essentially.
I think as far as reaching the other person that you're trying to get a hold of, whether it's the talent buyer, my rule of thumb is always to email twice. If you don't hear back, call the third time. There's still a fine line between persistence and annoyance in the music industry, and it's great to be aware of that.
Yeah. That's cool. You don't want to come off as annoying or anything, but being persistent and making sure that you make those connections and be able to perform in those places. Yeah, just keep talking to them.
So what about, I would imagine clearly social media plays a big part in creating that digital footprint online. And someone's just not going to take your word for the fact that you're going to fill the house. They're going to do some research. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about some of the things that you might include or you might be doing on your social media platforms to help tell that story for you when they go looking.
Right. I create a lot of music and stuff, and I do a lot of music things online and everything. And I feel like people are, yeah, she can sing good or whatever, but it's like I feel like they don't really know who I am as a person. I feel like putting my personality, who I am, can also attract those fans and like to get me to know me on a personal level. So like I'll do starting out with blogs and vlogs and stuff where I'm recording kind of like a day in the life, and the people can actually get to know who I am and just do fun bits and stuff, or like pranks, and like they get that kind of vibe from you where it's like, oh, okay, I think she's pretty cool or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah, I think sharing reviews is something that's helpful. If you play a show and someone comes and reviews it and it's really positive, and they, I just recently sang backup for an Elvis tribute artist, and we sold out 3 shows. So that's something you want people to know. We've sold out the past 2 years I've been there, that, I'm a part of something that people want to come see.
Indeed.
Sometimes when we look at social media, we think of creating content. And that's not necessarily the case all the time. You can also document, and that's something that Gary Vee talks about, where if you're drinking a coffee, just document it. Take a picture, make it look nice, and just give out content. You don't always have to create.
A great way to show talent buyers that you can draw is to have significant engagement on your social media profiles. If your artist is engaging consistently with their fan base and their fans are posting, come to Chile, come to Venezuela, we want you here in Orlando, Florida. If they see that and it sees the artist interacting with their fan base, they'll know that, wow, this artist really does care and is building a fan base brick by brick.
Let's talk a little bit about something that typically I might not necessarily ask in the context of working with venues and or promoters. However, it's a reality that we see more and more, unfortunately, in news, safety and things that could go wrong. And obviously there are extreme situations, but I love to maybe get a little bit of a baseline of some of the things that you should at least be aware of when you're playing a gig that would ensure at least maybe having more safety than if you went in blind. So I would imagine like knowing where the exits are, having a safe place to park your car if for no other reason that your van doesn't get broken into and you lose your gear or your merch. So any tips that you might be able to share in that space?
I think you're right. I think awareness is one of the best keys to know where the exits are, to know how you got in, to know the quickest way out. And, generally, if you've played this venue once or twice, you already have the lay of the land. But you do have a responsibility as either the person who's putting on the show, as the person who's playing the show. You have kind of a responsibility to your fan base. You want them to, yes, have a great time, buy a bunch of drinks, buy tickets, bring their friends. And, of course, you want all those things. But, of course, you also want them to feel comfortable and safe at your show. So a great place to start is, especially if you're putting on the show yourself or you happen to be working with the sound crew, is most great sound crews, this was a tip I learned from some friends who work shows, big corporate shows, is they have a macro on their lighting board. And it's very simple. If there's an emergency, they smash the macro, all the house lights come on. That way it's very easy to see where all the exits are so that nobody gets trampled because it's dark. So they smash that, and then if they have a light board or a screen behind them, 911 or something similar comes on the screen. If it's available to you, a lot of these sound technicians, front of house guys, have a recording that they can play over the house speakers that says the nearest exits are here and here. Please make your way safely to them. Sometimes over chaos, it's hard to hear them, but having an emergency macro, simply just having a plan and knowing that you have that can take a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah, I think that's really important, actually, with everything that's been going on recently in the news, and people start to feel unsafe going to concerts and stuff, which is crazy, because who wants to just be concerned for their safety at a concert when you're just there to listen to music, which I think is really sad and tragic, where people like that stuff like that can happen. So definitely being aware of your surroundings, and having that plan for a venue, having that's really smart, and I think that's something that should be implemented as something that is needed and that is necessary to have at all concert venues, because we don't want anyone getting hurt. It's just there to have a good time and listen to music, so that's really important.
Yeah, I've been hearing about too that more venues are like security checking people as they even come in, venues that hadn't done that before. And I know, people adding, a bodyguard at least for the artist, just in case something happens, and sad again that we need something like that, but it's becoming more and more commonplace.
Yeah, I think just staying calm, really, being prepared and staying calm. I remember when I used to freak out if water spilled on one of the cables as we were playing, nothing would happen, and as long as you stay calm and prepared, you should be good.
You haven't played in the pouring rain enough.
Yeah. Safety for audience is one thing, and as well as for the artist itself, may she rest in peace, Christina Grimmie, who was here in Florida when she died, something like that you would never imagine to happen. So definitely security and checking of people's bags and stuff is really important, which I feel like a lot of venues sometimes tend to low-key skip and not really look in. So I think that's something they should really advance in doing and double making sure, because lives and stuff.
Awesome, invaluable tips. Thank you so much. So now we've got a couple of special treats, as a matter of fact. We have a performance from Maria Garay, and she's going to perform one of her newest songs, so we're going to check that out.
To take my time, talk this through. Speaking angry on the phone, boy, you know just what you do. Spending the night in my bed, all alone. Wishing you'd stop at my text and pick up your fucking phone. Can't you see, boy, what you do? Gets my blood flowing, gets my blood boiling. I just wanna take my time spending things with you. Can't you see I'm at the top of my lungs? Wishing you say the right things all along. Baby, I'm right, baby, you're wrong. 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 Can't you see, boy, what you do? Gets my blood flowing, gets my blood boiling. I just wanna spend the night fixing things with you. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Can't you see, boy, what you do? Gets my blood flowing, gets my blood boiling. I just wanna spend the night fixing things with you. Can't you see I'm at the top of my lungs? Wishing you would say the right things all along. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Can't you see, boy, what you do? Gets my blood flowing, gets my blood boiling. I just wanna spend the night fixing things with you. Can't you see I'm at the top of my lungs? Wishing you would say the right things all along. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey.
And now we have a special performance from Amanda Lynn. Let's check that out.
I had the greatest night tonight. Like the fireworks were shooting out of my eyes. I had the greatest night tonight. And it's all because of you. It comes at such a price, but I'll pay it. Rockstar is my type, and you fit the description. We shared a moment across the room, and I thought, here I go again. Whether it's my salvation or my doom, baby, take me away to a place where I can relive today. I had the greatest night tonight. Felt a magnet pull between you and I had the greatest night tonight. Tell me it's all true. I'm thinking you could be my vice, so let's play rock star is my type, and you fit the description. One more misstep could kill me, but one night with you would thrill me. So what's a girl to do? I think spend the night with you. Oh, 'cause rock star is my type, and you fit the description. Let's have the greatest night tonight. Like fireworks are shooting out of our eyes. Let's have the greatest night tonight. And if tomorrow never dawns, that'll be just fine. Yeah, if tomorrow never dawns, you will still be